and my lifestyle was so destructive. And like when I just sat with God that day and was like, I don't even see a way out of this life. But I know that I am just for some reason super uncomfortable in it now.
Mm.
And if you show me a door, I'm gonna walk through it and I'm gonna follow you with my whole heart. And I like really just started like repenting and just asking the Lord to like change me, because like I said, I ain't see a way how I was gonna, live a different life, because that's the life that I've known, the life that I've chose, like ever since I was making my own decisions. So I'm just like, I don't know what we gonna do, but I'm gonna follow you if you open this door. And when he opened it, it kind of like just freed me from the shame that I was feeling internally from knowing him and then living a totally different way, and just like it just freed me. And I just had this joy that like, I mean, I'm calling everybody like, man, yo, I just gave my life to Christ in my room.
Cool, cool, cool. So first things first, I just want to introduce the channel. So welcome to Monarch Madness. Just here to introduce new artists into a Christian narrative and really just get to know others as well. So we got a cool guest on here named Danielle. So welcome, Danielle. First thing is, obviously we already talked before this anyway. So some of the things that we were talking about that we want to go through is just kind of like giving people insight on what it's like to be an artist in general. So I don't really want to tell your story for you. So just, introduce yourself and tell them a little bit about yourself and what you're doing.
Oh yeah, sure. I go by the name JustDanielle. I'm a gospel slash inspirational artist. Um, been doing it for a while. That's all I can say. Been doing it for a while. I love making music. I love making music for the Lord, and
Yeah.
just music that like encourages people and inspires them to, live to their highest potential. Pretty
Okay.
much. Yeah.
I think it's really funny though, because even though obviously it's the first time we're having like in-depth conversation about it, I actually met Danielle at an event. And it was a bunch of different artists. They were all kind of just like, doing their thing. It was honestly really fun. I've never been to like any type of Christian concert. I feel like we were just vibing. So it was
What?
really cool. Yeah, one of my friends she had told me about, she was like, yeah, you should pull up and come through. I was like, okay, let me come. And something that like really stood out to me about you amongst like all the other honest artists, to be honest, was just like
Hmm.
you felt very genuine, and I really like the message that you gave in some of the songs that you were speaking. And even just like I know you took a moment to like talk about like I think it was like anxiety or something that that was something you overcame in the past, and like how it really just makes it even more of a reason for you to do what you're doing now.
Yeah,
What
for sure.
kind of pushed you to even start doing music? Like even just now you're like emphasizing it for God. Like what pushed that? Why do it for God?
Well, at first, I was just like on the business side of music. And this was BC, before Christ. Uh yeah, my brother and my family friend, he was like a cousin to me. They just love music, and they were like really talented. And I was like, man, we gotta get y'all noticed. So I was kind of acting as their manager, and I always sung. So they was trying to get me on different songs, and then I started really liking it. Like, okay, this is a way to just use my voice and to feel heard. And so we was making music. I wouldn't say it was the best things for people to hear. Um, in hindsight,
Mhm,
while we were
mhm.
doing it, we like, yeah, let's party. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, when I, gave my life to Christ and really, got serious about my faith and just like wanted to give Jesus my all, I started making music for the kingdom, because I only made music that, reflected my lifestyle. So since I was living different, I couldn't talk about the same things. I just didn't even want to talk about the same things. So
Mhm.
that's how I started doing, gospel and more inspirational and empowering music, and just stuff about like, overcoming the challenges of life, because we
Yeah,
all face it.
that's cool. What type of like inspiration do you kind of want to give to others through your music right now?
That God cares about them.
Mm.
Whether they care about him right now or not. Um, he cares about you. Uh, he cares about what you're going through, and somehow he'll make all of it work together for your good. Like me going through anxiety, as you mentioned, like who knew that was going to turn into a song? I was literally in a therapy session, and my counselor was like, but you have options though. Like, why are you acting like you don't have options? Like, with all this word in you, with all this, and she really just was encouraging me. And I was like, you know what? I do have options, and that just sparked the song. I said, that's gonna turn into a song.
That's
So,
awesome. What? That's really cool. That's really
for
cool.
sure.
I feel like I really relate to that too. Like I wonder if you have had this experience, but when before I kind of like even came to Christ, I like how you said BC. I'm gonna start saying that. But yeah, so
That's stolen.
but yeah, so I think like even in my situation, like before I even came to Christ,
Mm-hmm.
I kind of felt like I was mourning my old self in a sense. And that might be like very strong verbiage, but did you kind of feel that like before you started like turning from like, okay, you were doing music and everything before like turning into something for God? Did you ever have moments where you kind of feel like you missed doing the old things that you were doing or anything of that sort?
Nah, I was on fire.
Was it?
I was on fire.
Okay, okay, cool.
That I know that is a lot of people's story and journey.
Mhm.
But for me, it was just a little different. Like, the way I was living, it wasn't just in my music. So, like I said, my music always reflected like my lifestyle at the time. And my lifestyle was so destructive. And like when I just sat with God that day and was like, I don't even see a way out of this life. But I know that I am just, for some reason, super uncomfortable in it now.
Mm.
And if you show me a door, I'm gonna walk through it, and I'm gonna follow you like with my whole heart. And I like really just started like repenting and just asking the Lord to like change me, because like I said, I didn't see a way how I was gonna, live a different life, because that's the life that I've known, the life that I've chose, like ever since I was making my own decisions. So I'm just like, I don't know what we gonna do, but I'm gonna follow you if you open this door. And when he opened it, it kind of like just freed me from the shame that I was feeling internally from knowing him and then living a totally different way, and just like it just freed me. And I just had this joy that, like, I mean, I'm calling everybody like, man, yo, I just gave my life to Christ in my room. They're like, what?
Let's go.
You know what I mean? They were looking at me like, girl, we'll see. Yeah, they're like, we'll see, Cause
That's
I had said that before. Like, I had said it like, man, I gotta give my life to Jesus, man. I'm out here living crazy.
awesome.
But it was different this time.
That's
Yeah,
dope.
it
That's
was different
dope.
this time.
Man, there's nothing like being on fire for God. Like, come on now. That's awesome.
Right. Old ways, that's trash. I don't like the way I was living. Like, I don't miss watching my back. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, that's facts.
looking over my shoulder,
That's
and
facts.
just like, I don't miss that
Mm,
uncomfortable feeling that you get when you called to something greater. You know
mm,
what I mean? Like, where you're around people that you love and know, and they like your peoples, and you feel out of place.
mm.
Like, I don't miss that. I
It's
don't
like
miss that.
the puzzle piece that just doesn't fit, you know?
Yeah, yeah, and it felt like the void was getting bigger and bigger. So like I was just like smoking and drinking heavily,
Yeah.
because I was like actually hearing the Lord speak to me in different ways, and it was scaring me. So I was like, well,
Oh,
if I'm drunk, or if I'm high to the point
you don't
where
want to
I'm
go
like,
to
I don't remember.
that.
Yeah, if I don't remember yesterday, then you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah, no, that's facts. I've seen some videos of people who have experienced the same thing. I myself have gone through some stuff like that too, and it's definitely real. So I can agree with this. Like, it's like a fear of the Lord almost. Just like I understand the boundaries now. Like I'm good, but that's cool. So
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
um, obviously, you said how long have you been doing music for again?
I've been doing music since like 2009.
Okay,
Like,
okay, okay,
really
cool.
serious about music since 2009. But I started doing like music that, empowers people.
Mm-hmm.
Like 2013, 2014.
Okay, that's dope. So
Mm-hmm.
like I know the biggest thing that we were talking about was like overcoming challenges. What were like some of the challenges that you kind of faced first starting out? As some people, it's like their biggest fear is just like, what's the right way to go about starting music, or should I like reach out to these types of people? Like it's always just like, where do I start? So did you kind of feel like, is that what it was that you were kind of feeling, or?
Well, when I wanted to get like, when I wanted to get them known, yeah, I was trying to figure out like, where can we do a show? Where can we do this? Where can we do that? But when I started making music for the Lord, I was like, if you build it, they will come. I just had, I just had that kind of mindset because I'm like, listen, if one person hear this and they feel encouraged, or they feel like, I can go on, I can make it through this, or dang, maybe I should like think about the Lord in my everyday life, then mission accomplished. So I think everything really just happened organically, with like my music getting out there and being seen by a bunch of people. It was just like God. I didn't really make no plans. As crazy as that sounds, like I didn't really try any like marketing things. The things that like have gone viral and stuff, it was just the Lord. I don't know, like in the like in the moment posting something, it's like, think of this caption, but it wasn't no wisdom of mine. I still trying to figure it out.
You seem like you're just letting God take control. And I feel
Mm-hmm.
like that's something that's really hard for a lot of people to do sometimes. Maybe not everybody. I know that that's like letting go and really just trusting the Lord with like all your heart and everything, and just understanding that like God really will take care of us. Like, do you see
Yeah,
a huge difference when you kind of just like was like, all right, like this is all for him?
yeah. I think like I get in my own way and in my own head when like my devotion life sucks.
Mm-hmm.
So I be trying to do it in my own strength when I'm like, I'm not like spending as much time with God, I'm not like making time for him and stuff like that. That's why I started like overthinking everything and, oh, how can I do this or how can I do that? And I start to seep into like, kind of like the hustle culture, just like this culture period. Whereas like you get kind of ambitious, like in a bad way, or like, oh, if I pull up here, then I can make connections. And it's like when I'm studied up, you know what I mean? When I'm in prayer, I'm constant communication with God, like, just like really spending time with him and feeling full. Like I don't worry about those things, and opportunities just come to me. So I mean, the Bible is a perfect manual. It just say seek the kingdom and everything else will be added. And it's like that is true. That is true. And when I'm not seeking the kingdom, I be trying to add it and it be subtracting. It be subtracting. I be like, dang,
The math is
I
just
need to
not
get it
math no
together.
more.
And God's math is way different. Like,
Definitely
yeah,
is.
so
My biggest thing that like with the control aspect, where did you get your unshakable faith from? Because that's just the vibe you're giving me. I just feel like this girl cannot be stopped.
yeah, you know what? Like, no matter what happens, I will never lose my faith in the Lord because he just shown himself to me in too many ways for me to doubt who he is. You know what I mean? Like, I've just seen him in the supernatural way. And I feel like once you like take that time to get to know him like for yourself, it's not because, your mother or your grandmother or your aunt or somebody like has drug you to church, like by your collar, you know what I mean? But you really just take the time to get to know him and just talk to him. And like, if you tell him what you need, or if you don't even believe like that, you like, I believe there's a God. I do believe in Jesus a little bit, but like, Lord, could you show yourself to me so I can believe all the way? He will do it. And I feel like the time that I went away in Florida, this was around the time where I, gave my life to Christ. I went to school and I was struggling so bad. Like my life had just flipped upside down. And I was like determined not to do any sketchy stuff. because I'm changed now. I'm a new creature. So I'm not going to my old ways, right? So I was really like dependent on the Lord, like, Lord, if you don't do it, I don't know what's happening. I'm doing everything that I can in my power. Like, show me who you are. And I'm just reading the Bible, and like the miracles and stuff that I was reading, I was trying to get them going for me. You know what I mean? I'm like, Lord, you did it for Joshua. I'm on my way to school and I'm late. I'm like, Lord, stop the time. You know what I mean? And I just saw
Mhm.
miracles like that. Like, oh my gosh, I really got here on time. Ain't no way I could have got here on time. Just different things like that. Just really trying him at his word. And he just showed me. So I'm like, I don't care what happens in life. God is real. You feel me? Like,
Yes. Oh
yeah,
my
but I
God.
mean, we all kind of lose sight of that sometimes, but you gotta snap back.
Yeah. I really like that you emphasize like even just like seeing God in the little things. Because a lot of times, like, we'll be looking for like these big miracles or these huge blessings. And unless we see this, like, it's like we get disappointed and we set our bar so high sometimes. And it's no problem. But I really like when you said that, it just took me back for a second. I'm just like, how many times do we just like be thankful for like the order coming through on time sometimes, you know what I'm saying? Like, or just getting
Listen,
food when you didn't expect it, like little things, just like, wow, like God really showed up for me today. I lost my phone. Where my phone at? God, show me where my phone is. Wow. Like just the little things, like I think that really helps build up faith. I know you're about to say something. What were you going to say?
I'm just saying, them little things be adding up. You know what I mean? And I've seen some pretty huge miracles, like in my life. But those little times where it's just like you like, he's a big God. He don't care about this.
Hmm.
But then he show you like, no, I care about all of it. Like to the point where I tell you this one story, right? I'm at school. I'm a broke college person at this point, and I went back to school. I was like 24. You know what
Okay.
I mean? I am broke, and I just like I had left the house because I was running late again, and I didn't. I thought I had some money in my book bag, but I didn't. I only had $1. I was like, dang. I'm be at school all day. If I had like at least a quarter, I could get a sandwich from McDonald's. This is when it was truly a dollar menu. I
Right.
was like, I could at least get a sandwich from McDonald's or Wendy's.
Hmm.
And like, I just felt like the spirit lead. It'd be like, go to the vending machine and look down. I went to the vending machine, looked down, and it was a quarter. And I was like, dang, I should have asked for $5 or something. Like, I should have asked for more than that. But it was just like, God be caring. He cares so much. And it's like, man, we serve a big God, and I'm asking him for a quarter,
Dang.
and boom. You know what I mean? So it's like you cannot discount that because it shows you like when nobody else is like looking after you, looking for you. I'm looking for you. I'm attentive to all of your needs every time. I mean, I got so many stories like that. Like one time I was crying because I was separated from my family in Florida, and I was just like, I was talking to my mom. I'm just like, I'm so lonely down here. Like all these, they kids to me. Like I'm 24, they like 17. They just leaving their mom's house, so they living a little wild. I'm like, I'm done with that. I need some friends, somebody like that's on my level, some companionship. I'm like, I just need a hug. I miss it. Like I miss y'all. She was like, it's gonna be okay. She was just encouraging me. And then as soon as I hung up the phone with her, this boy came around the corner that stayed in my dorm, and he like best friend and gave me a
What?
hug. And I'm just like wiping my tears, like God even care about that. Like, so I mean, it's so many things. It's so many things. It's just
So
like
cool.
he cares. Can't nobody tell me he don't care
He
about me.
shows
You know
up
what
on
I mean?
time. Like what? That's crazy. That's crazy. Oh my God.
He's beautiful, man. He cares.
Mhm. It makes me think of how like God calls us a friend. Like it's more than us just like being a servant of God and like he actually sees us as a friend. Like he's our father and our friend and our lover. All these many things and I'm just like that's that's beautiful. And when people can really like feel that peace in their heart and actually understand that like it's beyond just like our earthly like perspectives of our mothers, our fathers, whoever loved ones. Like we have someone who actually knows our heart, like cares about like the hairs like when I remember reading about like he knows the number of hairs that are on your head, like knitted you
Right.
like he pays attention to the details. And when we actually
Yeah.
remind ourselves of that, it reminds us of those special moments, such as what you're having with just like the little things. And it's like, of course I care. Like what you care about, I care about. If you hurting, I'm hurting with you. Like it's that best friend that's
Yeah.
just like literally ride or die with you, you know? Like that's cool.
Yeah.
That's
He
cool.
is a best friend because like the guy that hugged me, even though he like best friend, that was not my best friend. You know what I mean? He was cool, but he was one of them where my hug at guys. So when
Oh.
he came around the corner and gave me a hug, I'm
Mhm.
looking to the sky like, I bet you think that is pretty funny.
Right.
Like for this person to
I got
hug me, you
that
know.
one.
Nevertheless, I am grateful for the hug. You know what I mean? But I'm like, I bet you think that's pretty funny
Oh
to
my
send him
god,
around the corner. You know what I mean?
that is
Like,
so funny.
I'm like, that is something a friend would do. Like, ain't that your friend? You know?
Right. Oh my gosh. Well, cool,
Yeah.
cool. What's something that you feel like would kind of like help new artists now? Like even more recently, I'm seeing a lot of people coming up in the Christian artist realm. I've been seeing like a lot of Instagram posts, like Alex Jean, people like that too. Um, what is what's your perspective on just like how our culture is building up, and what type of impact do you think that's kind of making in the world right now?
I think it's making a good impact. Like, I mean, we could use more content that's actually talking about something. You know what I mean? So something that matters, something that will just listening to it will like feed your spirit in the right way. So I mean, I think it's amazing that if I could give, anybody advice coming in, it's just like make music. Don't think too hard about it. I mean, of course, if you talking about, Christian content, you ain't got to think that hard. Don't second guess yourself and just like put out a bunch of content.
Mm.
Just share your stuff on social media.
What would you say to like, let's say people that are obviously very new into the space, that are kind of worried about
Mhm.
like, maybe backlash or comments, like, and I know that that comes from like anything, not just like from being a Christian, but just opening up to being online. Like, what would you say to those types of people that are a little bit afraid because they're afraid of the rejection that could come with it?
They rejected Christ, but the same thing. Like seriously though, I mean that was serious. But seriously, it's like people gonna talk whether you're doing good things or you're gonna do bad things. In this comment culture, people just want something to say.
Yeah.
Anything is gonna be offensive. But at the same time, you gotta be like patting yourself on the back. If you got trolls, that means you made it. So like be encouraged when they start throwing rocks. It's like, oh man,
Doing something.
I'm really getting out here. Because at first it's just gonna be like your family and friends supporting you. So
Mhm.
now that different people coming in, like some of it is like constructive criticism. Maybe you wouldn't have said it that way, but hey, it might be something that you need to work on. But like hate is a sign that you're doing something good. So I would just say keep going no matter what.
Okay, cool, cool. Are you like looking to kind of like maybe are you looking to like grow a community around you with your platform right now?
Um, yeah, I mean, I guess. Yeah, I mean, like I'm be pointing people to God, so it really don't matter if they be a part of my community or not. But of course, I always want people to hear my music and share my faith. And if you like it, you like it. If you don't, I'm pretty sure there's something else out there for you.
Okay, cool, cool, cool. Awesome. What would you say? I actually meant to ask you this earlier, but if you, let's say you're on a trip, you're with your closest people, y'all about to go to like Poconos or something like that, and you had to pick a playlist, what is your top five artists right now?
Dylon, 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 and Dylon. I can't resist. But my top five, I don't know. This might seem like I don't know. This might seem some type of way, but I be listening to my music a lot
Hey.
because it makes me happy, and I'd be like, hold up, this song was ahead of its time because I'm going through this right now. It brings me joy. You know what I mean? And it just reminds me of the place that I was in when I wrote it. So I listen to a lot of me. I listen to who I listen to? I listen to like Lauryn Hill,
Okay.
Anita Baker. Like
Okay. I like the
my
vibe.
husband got to put me on with new music because I'm stuck. I'm stuck. I'm
Honestly,
like
no
I'm
problem
like
at
Shaka
all.
Khan. Like I like music that your mother used to make you clean up to.
No,
Like
that's I was literally about to say that. Like those are the best, literally the best genre you could ever have. Like
I
that
get some
cleanup
stuff
music
done.
is different. It's different. That's
Yeah.
dope. Well, cool. I kind of want to tap on like kind of like going back to what you were saying earlier about like even just like coming from a space where you weren't necessarily like where you wanted to be. Um for let's say for people that maybe are in a headspace where they're still dealing with like overcoming certain challenges or strongholds, whatever it is, what would be something that you feel like helped encourage you to even like come to Christ or even overcome some of those challenges even after coming to Christ?
Um, I think like we know that we haven't tapped into our full potential. So we always feel like there's more I could be doing. There's always room for improvement when like trying to be a better person. But I feel like you should give yourself some grace. And I'm talking to myself right now because I'm hard on myself, and I'm hard on the people that I love, around me. Not hard on them, but
Mhm.
when I see like they living below, who they are, I gotta say something.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would just say keep going. I forgot what the question was. I ain't even
No,
hold
you're
you.
great.
Am I answering it?
It was kind of like just
Am I answering it? I
you're
feel like I
good.
answered a little bit of it and
You're
then I got
good.
off track.
No, you're straight. It was just more so like just trying to understand like how people are overcome or how you overcame those challenges that you were first dealing with. Because even like in the past, like I used to smoke and drink as well, and so I'm wondering like what kind of helped you like overcome. Maybe that was something that was a challenge for you. So like, how did you overcome that and allow yourself to be in that better headspace to keep going?
Yeah, just keep your eyes on God. Yeah. And like switch up your environment if you need to. Like some friends, I mean, it worked for me perfectly because I went to a whole nother state for school, but like just being in a different environment and like setting your intentions and just like when you worried about the things of God, like you don't even your mind doesn't even wander that way. And if it does, you're able to reel yourself in. Like, yeah, I could do this, but is it beneficial to me? Is it beneficial to my witness? Like, what is it gonna do? Like, what am I trying to cope with right now that I can't just take it to God? And I mean, I probably had that. I have this verbiage now, but back then I was just keeping my mind on the Lord. Like, certain things would like tempt me, and I'm just like, God is good. He will figure this out. He will figure this out. I'm gonna keep my eyes on him. I'm doing everything that I can do to better my situation. So it's time for God to be God. So I would just say, do all you can do in your power, change your environment, keep your mind focused on the things above, and then just let God be God. Because I mean, this whole thing it's about faith. It's not about what you do actually. So you gotta just believe that God can just keep you, But you gotta try to keep yourself too. Like, don't if you ain't trying to smoke or drink, don't go to the turn up where they smoking and drinking, and you can easily be, you can easily get caught up. Sometimes you gotta step away from that stuff for a while before
Yeah,
you go back into that kind of environment.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's facts. That's facts. I definitely do agree with that. Have you like always were you always doing music? I know you say you started around like 2010. What were you doing before that?
Working at McDonald's.
Okay,
I
okay.
was working. I was working at McDonald's.
Okay.
Um, I think because like 2009, dang, I'm about to put my age out there, but I mean, I don't care. 2009, I was like 20 or
Okay,
like yeah, or like 19, about to turn 20 or something like that.
okay.
So, I was still trying to figure out what I was going to do with my life.
Just still early,
Um,
right?
yeah, yeah. So I was like working at McDonald's, just hanging out, making a bunch of bad decisions, blaming it on being young and dumb. But
Yo,
yeah, I really wasn't doing too much before music. I wasn't doing nothing.
mhm.
But when I figured out like, oh man, this feel like something I want to do. I think this is what I want to do with my life. And now it's just branched out to all types of media, you know,
Wow.
not just music.
So is this something that you're doing full time now?
I wish. I'm doing media. I'm doing media full time though.
Okay. Okay.
Any freelance jobs that I get, and then my actual career is in like media and communications.
That's dope. That's dope. So
Yeah.
aligns well too. I always wondered that too. Like, um, me and my friend, this is a little bit off topic, but me and my friend were kind of talking about just like managing life in the ages of your 20s and 30s and like understanding like where our footing is and how to actually understand like where our calling is as well. Like what makes me feel like I'm purposeful in the world, like what are the things that
Hmm.
gifts that I have that I feel like I could express and use that, so I think that that's like super important and really cool that like even if you aren't full time with it, it's just like when I can tell that like when you get into your space and you're doing what you gotta do, you put your all into it, and I think that that's super important.
For
But
sure.
yeah. But before we do wrap up, I guess like one of my last questions that I would kind of ask is if you had one thing to say to everybody in the world, what would it be? Like if this was like the message of all messages, is the last thing we had to hear from Danielle, what's it gonna be? I know it's kind of like on the spot though.
Hey, if this is the last thing you hear from me, look, God cares about you. Build a
Mm,
relationship with Him for yourself.
mm, that's fact.
Period. Like that's the more. I mean, that's how you learn about yourself. You
Mm,
know, everybody. I mean, we all trying to be, the more evolved person. To be, more evolved and grow and, you know, be all connected to the universe.
right.
Get closer to God. All those things are being one. You know what I mean? Just build a relationship, with Him for yourself is what I would say.
How do you keep yourself on fire for God? And I know this kind of like the question could go so many, but I'm gonna just ask it.
I mean, he's good. I just know that he's the one that has been waking me up. Community keeps me on purpose, on focus with God. I have people in my life that I'm accountable to, that if they see me like, moving sluggish or, just procrastinating in certain things in certain areas, they be like, I thought you said you was doing this. What happened to that? You know what I mean? Or like, you got a bad spirit. What's going on with you? You know what I mean? Like
Oh, you need
I
one
have,
of
I'm blessed
those.
with the community that I have.
Mhm.
Um, I'm surrounded by, believers, and I mean other people too. That's just like great. But God is good. So the Holy Spirit keep me on fire because,
Yeah.
I get convicted just like anybody else if I haven't been, spending time with Him. I just be like, dang man, I miss God.
Yeah.
Dang, I'm easily irritated. What's going on with me? You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like,
Mhm.
why am I being so mean? It's like, yeah, cause you ain't been
Yep.
spending time with the Lord, and your tolerance is at an all time low.
Yep. You gotta
So
free yourself back up,
yeah,
man.
yeah. I just, I don't know. I don't know. We just connected.
It was love at first sight.
It's the. I'm telling you, it's nothing but the Holy Spirit because I ain't the greatest example, but it's nothing but God that, it's Him that pulls us to Him.
Yeah.
So we can think it's us all we want, but it's His Spirit working in us to do His will and His good pleasure. So it's like, you know, I'm just blessed, I guess.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. I really like what you've been emphasizing so far too, and I feel like one of the biggest things that I kind of got from our conversation is like it really stood out about like changing your circle, and I feel like a lot of people sometimes like will go through these like all these different measures of how to like get more success and see all these differences and changes, and it is about the little things. Like just like God cares about the little things, it's the little things in our circle too. Like if we have people who aren't following the same path that we're looking to kind of like try to even change to follow, it's going to make it 10 times harder. It's like if I say I'm going to stop eating sugar and I'm a room full of cookies, saying no is going to be a little bit difficult. So I feel like
Yeah.
just like off of that strength, that definitely is empowering. I feel like to others to just like be like, hey, like maybe this is something small that I could do to kind of like maybe that's the spark I needed to help me like get back in to, you know, like whatever some people may be feeling. Especially like open up new
Yeah.
options and stuff like that too. So that's dope.
Yeah. I feel like environment and people is a big thing, because that part can be a little grievous, like
It really can.
these are
Oh,
my
big
people. I thought we was going to the top
accomplishment.
together, and it's
Right.
like actually
Yikes.
they might be my demise.
It was there
And
for the
not in that way, but you know how like even in the Bible with like Moses wanted everybody to go to the promised land so bad that he let them frustrate him out of him missing the promised land. So they went without him. So it's
right.
like, you
Right.
know what I mean? So it's like you gotta put yourself first, Lucius.
Yeah.
you, got, you gotta put yourself first.
100%. It's funny because at my old job, I actually there was a saying that we used to say where it's like you gotta put your gas mask on first. Like that's the first thing they say on an airplane. If an airplane was about to crash, it's important that you
Yep,
put your mask on first before you put the baby's mask on. Because if you run out of air, how you gonna save everybody else? How you gonna help
that's
anybody else
true.
on that plane? Like you
That's true.
put your mask on first.
That's true.
We cooking, we cooking, we cooking.
Yeah, I'm just saying, like, even if you think about it, like, if people don't want to like evolve and like stop doing destructive stuff, it's like even though you love them, those people that you want to spend every day with, it's
Yeah,
like no. I see you every now and then, like, what's up? Ain't no hard feelings. I love you. I ain't looking at you different or not or nothing, but I feel like I got somewhere to be.
right,
And
right.
you ain't got nowhere to be right now. And that's cool. Cause I know you're gonna figure it out one day, maybe not, but I ain't looking at you different. I just gotta do me.
Right. You gotta take that step. Hey,
Yeah.
if you love them, you gotta set them free.
If they come back, that's how you know.
You know.
That's how you know.
Well, cool,
For
cool,
sure.
cool. Well, I want to say thank you, Danielle. I
Yeah.
know it was like a short time, but I really do appreciate the time spent here. And I really do pray and hope that like this whole like interview and everything is something that sparks something for somebody, whether you're in the creative space, just want to get out your head, or just need to make some good words, good vibes, and everything, because you're a cool vibe. um,
Okay. Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank
no
you for having me on.
problem.
You gotta go where you invited.
Yeah, come on now.
Yeah,
Well,
no, this was cool though. It was, good genuine conversation. I appreciate you having me on. I
yeah,
look forward to seeing it.
yes, for sure, for sure. I'm excited.